Why do you think hurt people hurt people? I don't know if you've heard that saying before.
I have heard that saying. The problem with cliches is that they're quite often true.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you're hurt, you think anger is a strength. You think bitterness is a strength. Because if you stop and think about it, when you're bitter, you don't feel weak.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you're angry, you don't feel weak.
You feel powerful.
You feel powerful.
Strong.
Yeah. And so what happens is that these negative emotions hide your own vulnerability and weakness and pain. So as long as I'm bitter, I don't have to think about the fact that I've been betrayed.
Wow.
As long as I'm angry, I don't have to think about the fact that I'm so deeply wounded, I can't even deal with it. And so we use these negative emotions to feel powerful. And it's the most terrifying thing in the world to let go of those negative emotions, because now you're completely powerless. And you have to trust that if you can let go of hate, that love is more powerful. That if you can let go of bitterness, that forgiveness is more powerful. That if you can stop hurting people, that you will not get more hurt. But here's the problem. Whenever you love, you risk being hurt. So I can't say to someone, if you'll just love, you'll never be hurt.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to say the opposite. If you choose to love, you will be hurt. But when you love, you have enough strength to overcome that hurt.
Yes.
And I think that's a part of the challenge of it, is that the most dangerous thing in the world is intimacy. And it's what we long for the most. And it's what we fear the most. And that's why it's such a dangerous place. And so it's so much easier, Lewis, to judge people than to be honest with their own shortcomings, right? It's so much easier to hurt you so that you can't hurt me first. Years ago when, we had the whole thing with the Unabomber, if you remember that, and there's all these studies on people living in isolation.
Yes.
And they're becoming mass murderers. And what ends up happening is,
because you don't hear about someone who's fully loved and has a great community and friends becoming a murderer.
Yeah. When you feel rejected by the world, you reject the world.
Yeah.
And when you feel that the world is your enemy, your only act of human engagement is violence. And that's the greatest danger in the human spirit.
It could be violence towards others or towards yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, because the self-loathing is so deep that your only expression of yourself is violence. And that's why it's so important to not move toward isolation. Human beings are not designed for isolation.